brothers by me like I'm Jeff. Any vibe that I don't like is to the left. Can't stay down now, I'm too bouncy when I step. When they ask, I be like,
I am Masta Que, aka Quincy Thomas. You can do it the other way around if you like. I'm here in conversation with my guy, Marc Jones.
Good to see you, bro.
What's happening, bro? How are you?
I'm good, man. I can't complain, you know?
Yeah?
Life's been treating me well this year, so...
That's good to know.
Yeah.
We've just come out of a pandemic. How are you feeling just about life in general?
I think it's just given me a new outlook on everything, you know? Like I used it as a time to rest. I was very busy before it. About to get busy after it, but yeah, when it first came, I was like, you know what? This is a time for me to just reset. Yeah. Spend some time with the wife. Good. Get priorities straight. Try to do some bit of Joe Wicks and that. You know,
of course,
fit, so. It's
interesting that obviously you're an artist, but you're a married man. That's not something we see too often.
Yeah, man. I've been married, nearly 6 years now.
Wow.
So time has flown, but yeah, it's a good thing, man. Like spending your life with someone. For me, I got married young, obviously. Okay. A lot younger than a lot of other people do. Yeah. And it meant that like people see me as maybe advanced or sort of more mature or whatever, but we just have fun, man. We just have fun. Same amount of fun as everyone else has, we have it, man.
I mean, how long did you know her before you got married?
How long did I know her?
Yeah.
Well, a long time. So we met at like sixth form. Okay. So before we got married, probably 6 years.
All right.
Yeah, a long time, and then we was together for 5 years. So
you was well and truly friends first before you even.
Yeah. So we was together.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, man.
That's big.
Yeah, shout out the wife.
Today, shout out the wife.
You got it.
Today we're here talking about your new project that you've been working a long time on.
Long time, man. Long time, yeah.
Title of this is called Glass Half Empty and not Glass Half Full.
Yeah.
Talk me through that first and foremost. Like, why that route?
Well, yeah, you get the phrase in it, like glass half empty, glass half full, and like I've always seen myself as the most optimistic person. Like when people speak to me, they'll always say you're always upbeat, you're always energetic, you're always looking at the positives. Yeah. But I think like the pandemic, like I was saying, it was a time for rest, but during it was the first time where like, I don't know, life kind of hit me for the first time, and I was experiencing whether it was like feelings or emotions or whatever, things that I've never had before. Right. And we all go through it, innit? We all have times where we don't feel like ourselves. Definitely. So the way that I was looking at life started to be a lot more pessimistic, kind of negative, and I wasn't looking glass half empty and full anymore. It was more like glass half empty. I'm feeling like I'm in a place where, is it gonna get better? Do you get what I mean? Right. Not just because of the pandemic, but just general things going on. I think it was just a lot of bad news for everyone at that time, you know, whether it was family members, like my nan died, my wife's nan died, so like just a lot of change happening, and that was in the space of a month. So like for us, there was a lot of things going on in my life where I was like, there ain't too much to scream and shout about at the moment. Right. So yeah, that was kind of the way that the title came. But as I started to write and create the project, you'll see on the project, but it starts to move through the emotions of that and get to the point where we're getting more hopeful, if you get what I mean.
Interesting, I was just about to touch on that. The fact that the last track on this is actually called Hope. So is it a case of you had to go through, in a sense, like the wilderness, with everything that was going on in your household, I find it interesting how you were still able to write though, and still able to get into a space where you had that zone or that feeling to actually like get stuff down.
I think this is the first time where I actually wrote for myself. Right. So like, I've done music for a while now, innit? And like I said, most people probably find my music is very energetic, very impactful and positive in that sense. But like, this is the first time where I was like, okay, I'm actually just gonna write how I feel. Like, and what comes out, comes out. And that's, for me, like, the intro is probably the result of that. That's probably the most honest I've been in my music up to this point, is like, how am I actually feeling? And then, as I was writing, it just became a process of me of actually being able to say how I feel. Because I'm not the most vocal person to talk about these things, like a lot of people are, like a lot of men in particular aren't, like, we just internalize a lot of things in it, and I do that and just keep the brave face. But I think this was the first time where I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna write music saying how I feel, and hopefully people can connect with it and put themselves in my shoes and sort of relate to how I've been feeling over this past few years.
I wanna talk about that. Obviously, yeah, you're right. There is a massive increase of, like, you know, suicide with men, and that's the biggest killer in this country under the age, like, for men under the age of 45, which, as a stat alone, is nuts. I mean, for you at home, as a married man, yeah, how is it for you being in that situation where, you know, you're with your partner, you've been with them, 12 years plus? How is it for you at home, knowing full well that, you know, you don't necessarily, or you're not necessarily the person to, like, be out there with your emotions or kind of lay them on the table for someone? Yeah. So how is it for you going through that process and, like, having to communicate that? Because you're seeing someone 24 hours a day now. So then, was there an adjustment switch there? Like, while you was writing for yourself, did that kind of manifest for you in the real world as well when you was with your partner?
I think there's one day I remember is we was in the car driving somewhere, and I was just like, for the first time, I was just like to her, I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like there's a dark cloud over me.
Right.
That's the only way I could explain it to her. And she said, okay, like, she listened, didn't it, to what I was saying. And I didn't really have much words other than that to say what it was. But that was the first time I properly just said something to her to make her aware that I'm not feeling exactly how I usually am, if you get what I mean. Right. And then from then on, I was able to talk to other people about it, whether it was my friends. And I think that was important for me at that time as well, because, like, she can see what I'm going through and understands from that point that I'm not exactly myself. But I think speaking to some of my friends who maybe have gone through similar things, like, they were able to just, like, sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I was able to relate to them as a man, basically.
Right.
As, like, because I feel like, not for everyone, but sometimes, like, life can just be the expectancy that you put on yourself and how much pressure you put on yourself
definitely
can affect so many things and you don't even realize you're doing it. So I feel like for me, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself in a lot of different situations, whether it's my job, my family life, music. Like, that pressure sort of came to a head in this period. And so, yeah, having people to talk to about it was a big thing.
Well, of course, we managed to get an EP from this. And I would love for us to play the first track so people can get an idea of where your head was at.
Yeah, for real, man.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
So this is Glass Half Empty.
I gotta take a second just to breathe. Cause last year I went through a time I was crying on my knees and I thought I was a strong person. Even the strong feel weak like when Hulk ain't green, so I had to call out to the Lord. Either that or fall down on my sword. Paranoid like I'm running from the law. I ain't ever done squares but I'm feeling like a fraud, and all cause the weight of the expectation. I was looking for a 5-star rating. I need some advice in this trip that I'm taking. In this life, man, you gotta have patience. Is there really a price if you're faking? I see man scream facts about a daydream. We all wanna be on that A-team, but you can't shoot your shot on safety. So I gotta find my own path. From a boy to a man is not a small task. Got a few stories like I'm Roald Dahl, but the Giants ain't friendly where I'm from, dog. So you gotta play the right cards. Have you ever been typecast? If you knew the things I've done, you might laugh. But in your own mind's where it's most harsh. That's where I'm at now. Wrestle with myself like it's SmackDown. I might rap, but I much prefer the background. Wear my heart on my sleeve, never back down. Still chasing these dreams, make my fam proud. This year I've been struggling with stuff, but I still had blessings that were plenty. What good is money if you lose the ones you love? Is the glass half full or half empty?
see me, yeah? I'm a man that lives for intros. Like, I live for intros, I live for outros. This was a sick intro.
Nah, I love, man.
You know what I'm saying? It painted a picture of where you're at, or where you've been at with your life. And there was a couple key things that, you know, while I had the privilege of listening to this early, that I was able to pick up on. And, you know, a lot of it was about you being in a place of despair, in a sense. Like, there's quotes there like, crying on your knees, calling out for the Lord, feeling like a fraud. Like, talk to me about where this was coming from for you, and why you felt like, you know, you need to put this down or express this.
You know, it's like, the crying part is actually, it actually happened. Like, there was one day I come home from work, and I just started crying, man. I don't even know why. To this day, I don't know why. But I just felt like I just didn't know where I was in life. Do you get what I mean? I think for me, like, when it comes to my life, I obviously have my job that I work, and then I have music, and I have so many personas that I have. Do you get what I mean? So I talk to some people, they see me as Marc Jones, rapper. Yeah. Talk to other people, they see me as government name. Yeah, which is not, it's quite similar to my artist name. But like, having all of these different hats and the pressure that comes with each one, sometimes there's a point where they just all fall in together, and especially with something like music, man. Like, I think you have to do music for the love of it, because if you do it for any other reason, you're either gonna stop because you don't care, or it's gonna play on your mind all the time, innit? And I feel like for me, I got to a point where like, the pressure of wanting to achieve in music alongside all the other things I wanted to do, whether it was move home or do whatever, just became a lot to bear, innit? And maybe that's what caused like the crying and feeling like a fraud and all these different feelings and emotions, because it was like...
stress all the time.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, am I what everyone sees I am in these different places, innit? In these different realms? Like, who actually am I, if you get what I mean? I know that sounds mad, innit, to say who am I, but...
It's interesting because, you know, it's interesting that you feel like you have obviously these different like versions of yourself, because you know, the reality is, if you do go into a place of work, you can't necessarily bring artists. It's not really encouraged. You know what I mean? You can't really bring artist Marc Jones to work. Do you know what I mean? So obviously you got a higher pressure job role in a high pressure environment, in a place that a lot of people have not been happy.
You can put it that way, innit?
Yeah, I mean, the duality of obviously feeling like you need to express what you're going through, who you are as an individual, and then going to a place of work where it's not always this, you know, conducive to like artistry, if we want to call it like that. Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, how, again, like for you to get to that moment where you had to almost break down and cry, like to I guess, find some type of release, what is all of this for? Like, why do you put yourself through that?
I think like the way that I view the different portions of my life, especially when it comes to work and music, as two things. Is like, work for me is for my family, innit? So I work in order to provide and to try and build the life for my children one day when they come. And my family, the life that I want them to have, a good life, innit? And then music for me is, I always say to people that you need some sort of outlet in your life, innit? Like, you can't let your job become everything that you are, because you'll find your happiness in it.
Yeah.
So like, you have a bad day at work, everything's bad after that. So if you don't have anything else, I think you, like, for me personally, when I wasn't doing music, for example, I struggled to have anything else that I was really invested in. So that's kind of like why I like doing music, innit? Because it gives me an outlet and something that I can put my mind into and be creative with. And yeah, like you're saying, my workplace obviously is a place where it's high pressure environment, innit? I'm a civil servant. I'll just say I'm a civil servant of sorts. I work in a certain department that has a lot of scrutiny. But yeah, it's like, for me, I need this, innit? Do you get what I mean? And sometimes maybe, like I was saying, like, the fact that I do need it is a blessing and a curse, because on the one hand, I know that with music, I don't 100% need to like worry about it, because I've got a job. It's not like I'm doing this every single day. I've got a job. And it makes me hyper focused when I make music because I'm in the studio. I'm like, okay, I've done my 9 to 5. Now I've got 4 hours. Let's get things done, innit? But at the same time, there's like a desire to be like, this is what I enjoy. Can't I do this all the time? Like, why have I got to do this other thing?
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And how do I get to the position where I can do just this and not have to worry about that?
Yeah.
So that's like the tension in my life, innit? And like, I'm happy with both, innit? Like, I have to be happy with both. Like I could put out something and it fails. Do you get what I mean? But I've always got my job to as a backup.
This is the perfect transition, right? Because the next track is called Carpe Diem.
Carpe Diem,
Yeah. And I googled this because I hadn't seen this before. So it's used to urge someone to make the most of the present time and give little thought to the future, right? It's interesting because obviously you mentioned wanting to have kids and setting the foundation for your youths and making sure that they're all right. But I mean, at that same time, it's like, it seems like you're making use of present day by like obviously going to work, making sure that you're good, you know, like you're a man that's bought a yard, you know what I mean? So for you, you're clearly able to do this dual life. But I mean, how do you go about now trying to balance both of those, like with music having more of a prominence? Like you've just done a whole EP and that's going to require promotion. Like, how do you start to then split out that time?
I think, having them boundaries is important in all of your life, especially when you've got relationships. Like, I can't be in the studio every day, like, after I finish work, and then go there and, like, neglect time with my wife or whatever. But, with Carpe Diem, like, my whole sort of idea, when I think of that phrase, is I can only affect things today because I have today. Do you get what I mean? Like, each day you have to focus on what you've got to do. So if today is a day where I'm just going to work or whatever, then I've got to focus on that. And if I can't go to the studio if my next studio session's in 2 weeks, I can't do anything until then. Do you get what I mean? I can't release a song, I can't do things. Everything has to be done in its time. And I feel like we live in a generation of now, innit? So when you get a series on Netflix, for example, series comes out, you can watch all the episodes back to back.
All of them.
But then when you get a series, like Better Call Saul or something like that, and it's weekly, you're jarred, innit? You're why is this? Why is it every week?
Going off on Twitter.
Bro, it's like, can't we just have this all in one go like we're used to? And even like with music, I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, when it comes to music, now we go on Spotify, we can listen to any song that came out in the last, within reason, the last like 60 years. Which is mad, innit? Like before, you'd have to go to the shop, you buy your one record and that's all you could listen to. You could only listen to what you had, innit? But I feel like, that notion of everything being available and everything being now has sort of changed society in a way. And it's made us really impatient.
How do you unplug from the matrix then? Like, what is that process for you? Where you can actually go through the process or something? Is it music? Is it something else?
Do you know what? It's interesting because, like, for me at the moment, like, as everyone tries to do, we try to log off of social media and we have our time without it, innit? Like, and I have my time without it and stuff like that. But I found recently, like, one of the ways that I really unwind now, which is, you know, something that I wasn't really doing at all, is I just play PlayStation with my friends.
Right.
And we have a social time of playing together.
Got you.
And that allows me just to unwind and forget about everything else, innit?
Unplug totally, yeah.
Just I don't have to think about it. I'm literally just thinking about having a good time with my friends, whether we're talking, busting joke, whatever. Sick. And I found for me, that's something that's really like giving me a release. It's mad to think that, innit? Like it's like doing something as simple as that, but that's really given me like a sense of building relationships with people, with new friends and stuff like that who I knew but didn't know too deeply until we started playing together. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't it interesting how like people feel most free when they're in their like most childlike state? For some people it's creating or it's doing art. For you it's obviously like PlayStation, and that's based on how you've grown up and just what you know.
It's true.
It's almost like we kind of progress to become adults so we can do the things we always wanted to do as kids.
Real,
do you know what I mean? Just,
you know what? You say that, it's like what I play a lot with my cousin, innit?
Yeah.
And we grew up playing PlayStation together. Like every summer holiday, we'd link up.
Facts.
And from the start of the day to the end of the day, that's what we were doing, innit?
Yeah, marathons.
So like that's what I mean, all day, whether it was Street Fighter or whatever it was. And now like yeah, we've come back to a time now where we're able to talk again and play, and like we talk about the maddest things doing it. Like talk about politics, we talk about just life issues, like everything. And I found for me, like it's a way for me to unwind, innit? And just forget stuff that's been going on, innit?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I enjoy it.
Sick. Let's get into Carpe Diem.
Yo. These days I spend less time on my phone. It weren't doing good, bro, told me to leave it. Used to rush, now I take it slow. I'm much preferring the route when it's scenic. Sightseeing, got loads more to go. When COVID's gone, I'm heading to Egypt. Carpe Diem, still trying to seize it. Wins and losses like Renford rejects. I thought I could do things all on my own, but I crashed and burned and I deeped it. Bounce back, rose up like a phoenix. You're only as strong as the rest of your team is. Might butt heads, no beefers, but we're still bros, so that can't get between us. This last year's felt like a recess, on to the next one, oh so seamless. I told bro that I ain't been the same since COVID came, and he said that's facts. It's mad how life can change, the only thing certain's death and tax. Had some plans for the year, but it didn't work out in the way that I wanted. And I thought it was growing pains, now it just feels like my growth got stunted. But it's a brand new day, so I can't complain. Yeah, I might take a L, I still bounce back when things get strange. That's cause I changed my ways. New route, you can see, man, got that. Always got a new plan like Top Cat. Tunes then spin around your head like Hubcap. These days I spend less time on my phone. It weren't doing good, bro, told me to leave it. Used to rush, now I take it slow. I'm much preferring the route when it's scenic. Sightseeing, got loads more to go. When COVID's gone, I'm heading to Egypt. Carpe Diem, still trying to seize it. Wins and losses like Renford rejects. I thought I could do things all on my own, but I crashed and burned and I deeped it. Bounce back, rose up like a phoenix. You're only as strong as the rest of your team is. Might butt heads, no beefers, but we're still bros, so that can't get between us. This last year's felt like a recess, on to the next one, oh so seamless. Still mad my beard won't connect. These man show me no respect. The flow still comes correct. Neymar with the crazy tech. I come far with these baby steps. Been a long time, still no protect. And I'm staying offline, trying to raise my neck. And I'm on the climb, let me catch my breath. I was born in a place where man just take, they don't know about asking. And they all shoot their shot when they get their chance, they don't know about passing. Me, I just wish them well, tell them break a leg, no Henrik Larsson. I know my raw, I don't need no casting. Still mad hungry, like I've been fasting. These days I spend less time on my phone, it weren't doing good, bro, told me to leave it. Used to rush, now I take it slow. I'm much preferring the route when it's scenic. Sightseeing, got loads more to go. When COVID's gone, I'm heading to Egypt. Carpe Diem, still trying to seize it. Wins and losses like Renford rejects. I thought I could do things all on my own, but I crashed and burned and I deeped it. Bounce back, rose up like a phoenix. You're only as strong as the rest of your team is. Might butt heads, no beefers, but we're still bros, so that can't get between us. This last year's felt like a recess, on to the next one, oh so seamless.
I don't want to bring this up, yeah? But the beard... it's still not connected. What's happening?
Bro, I've had the struggle beard for time, innit? I'm trying to force it, like, you know how long it took to get these bits to connect. I just want this thing here, innit? That's
bro,
what I
know
want.
the pain.
I just want
Don't
this
worry.
thing.
I know the pain.
I'm hoping people can connect with that, bro. Like literally, but yeah, nah, man. One day, I'm hoping, bro.
Soon enough,
I'm gonna have to buy that beard oil. You know that beard oil that people
Yeah,
buy, like,
yeah.
One day you just see them and they got full beard. I'm hoping
all
for
of
that.
a sudden it's castor on.
Trust me, I'm gonna have to run it still.
Nah, say less. There's a few interesting bits from this track that I want to pull out and talk about. You said you want to go to Egypt when COVID's done. Why?
Because I want to go to the pyramids, fam.
Right.
Like for me, like going to places where there's just, I went to Mexico, for example, yeah, and they had this mad, like, the Mayan structures and that.
Yeah.
And like, the technologies they had there and all that sort of stuff, I just found it interesting. So I literally want to go and see the pyramids and stuff. But I've heard like the food's a bit mad in Egypt and that, like, for your stomach and that. Yeah, I heard people come back a bit ill, but I'll firm it in it. It's calm.
That's
yeah,
fine.
man. I just want to see, like, I just want to see wonders of the world, innit? Now that we've been locked up for so long, I just want to see things that are like.
Do you find history interesting?
I liked history at school.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm like, Wikipedia is probably my most used website. Do you get what I mean?
Okay.
I'll go on there and just research. You know when you get a rabbit hole, some people's YouTube, innit? For me, it's Wikipedia. I'll just bounce from place to place to place to place, just reading about people, history, whatever it is, man.
You're a curious person.
Yeah, naturally curious, man. Like, I like to learn new things, innit? Like, I started doing Japanese on Duolingo, like I decided this year I'm just going to learn a new language.
Casually.
Nah, I just thought, you know what, let me just try something new, innit? I just trying to do as much as I can, man. Honestly.
How's that going though?
It's hard, man. Like, cause obviously I'm not speaking it to people, but I'm reading, trying to learn all the different kanji and the letters and that. It's hard, but I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it. Testing
that's what's important.
Mm.
Then it felt like to me, if we talk about, you know, glass half empty to Carpe Diem, this is more so an acknowledgement that, right, first bit, I'm stressed out, problems going on here. Now I figured out, for me to do this the way I want to do this, I'm going to need some people to work with who can really help me bring this vision to life. When we heard a lot about you like trying to build a team and sticking to the plan, I mean, we're here today. We've got the team in the back.
So,
Shout out the team.
Big up.
Talk to me about that process, about how you actually went about selecting who you worked with and how you'd work with them. Like, what type of traits and personality were you looking for? How did that search begin for you?
I think the biggest thing, and I was talking to someone about this the other day actually, is like selflessness, innit? Like, when people you work with, when you see them go above and beyond and it's off their own back and they believe in what you're doing, it just gives you confidence in it. And I feel like in music you have to have a team. Like, as much as everyone's independent, you need people to help you to do different things.
It's funny that, isn't it? A lot of people are self-made.
It's mad, isn't it? But how much help do you need? It's mad. But I feel like, like whether it's my producer, RP9, who I've been working with for years now, and like has become one of my best friends, innit? Like, we talk many times a week. You know what I mean? Just about life, music, whatever.
Yeah. Just
I don't know if he wants me to say his name on camera, but my other other person who helps me a lot. Like, we just do life together, innit?
Yeah.
We just do life together,
Yeah.
and the music is a part of that.
Right.
But literally, just like whether we connect to talk, play PlayStation, go for a meal, whatever it is, innit? Like, it's just doing life with people who understand what you're about and are willing to invest into your vision. And like, for me, I'm just grateful that I've got people around me who can help me and see what I want to do and add things that I can't do. Do you get what I mean? I think that's one of the most important things, because like, I can't do certain things, but they can. So when that all comes together, it starts to bring something that you're proud of.
It's like covering your weaknesses.
Exactly.
I mean, looking at your childhood, where do you think that mentality came from?
I think I had to learn it, because I am someone who doesn't like to ask for help. Right. So I had to learn it, because even from childhood, like, I'm someone who, like, people can rely on me, they can ask me for help, and I'll do everything they need and want. But I was never the person to be like, oh, can you help me with this? Even in the house, like, I'll be like, if I need something from my wife, I probably most of the time won't ask her to do it. I'll just go and do it, because I'm just so used to that from growing up. I don't know where the mindset came from.
Got you.
But it's only now that I'm, especially with music, maybe music's helped me, is that I'm like, there's certain places where I don't always know what's best or what to do, and I need that help from someone else to, like you're saying, fill their weaknesses. And music has taught me that. And even work, I suppose, has taught me that as well. Like, when you manage people, you see their skills, you identify it and see what you can't do, and then you get them to fill in and do better in places where you can't. So.
100%. It's interesting. Obviously, I got someone I work with, and like, one of the things he said to me that stuck, it's like, you can go fast on your own, or you can go far with a team.
Yeah, for real.
Do you know what I'm saying? It just depends on what route you want to take. Because I think what happens is, when you do go fast on your own, you realise that, okay, I can't keep doing this. It's not sustainable to be going at this pace. And then you have to end up rolling it back and then finding the right people. And I don't know, sometimes it seems like it could be a little problematic when you've already tried to build something or have built something substantial. It's like, could be quite worrying at that stage. It's like, how can I trust that the right people are coming in for the right reasons? But for you now, it feels like right at the beginning of you, like, really pushing forward, you've already established the team. Like,
you turn around and it's there. You turn around and it's there. You don't even realize. You know what I mean? Like,
that's sick.
It's like, one day I realized that I've got these people helping me in these areas, and like I said, it's through friendships, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that makes it better, because you can be honest. we can talk through things and know that that person's got your best heart in it. They're not just trying to use you for anything or make a means to end. They actually like want the best for you in it, and I think that's a big thing.
What is your appetite for risk like?
It's just I got a song called Evil Knievel. Risk, isn't it? I think in different areas of my life, I'll take more risks than others. Music is definitely an area I take risk. Whether that's financially or creatively. And sometimes it's creatively, other people might need to rein me in and be like, nah, this ain't the thing.
Right, got you.
But generally, music is my place where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take risks here.
Okay.
When it comes to family life and paying the mortgage and all that sort of stuff, like you gotta keep it. You gotta pattern that properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, music, man, is a place that's where I'm ready to take risks and be creative and try things that don't work and see a vision and try and find all the ways that I can execute it. So if there's risks involved, sometimes I gotta go for it. Now
you have a team involved and you've got other people who's, I guess like you're saying, their lives are kind of intertwined to this now. It's like what is your approach to now taking risks alongside the rest of your team? Has that shifted at all? Or is it more so that they're on the same thing as you? And so they'll go with what you're on?
I think most of the time they're up for it, man.
Okay.
They're up for it. I think like when it comes to music and taking risks, like I was saying, you've got the creative standpoint, yeah. And there might be times where I take a risk and one person might like it, the other person doesn't like it. And then we discuss it and then we come to a consensus of whether this is a creative risk worth taking.
Sense or not, yeah.
And then there's like financial risks, which oftentimes is on me, innit? It's like, okay, we've got a vision we want to execute. Sorry, I just hitting the mic like that. We've got a vision we want to execute, yeah. And it's gonna take some financial risk. Like, what can we do to mitigate this, innit? Like, so whether that's in a practical sense of music, whether that's looking for grants, whether that's looking for ways where we can take a few more risks because we've got that safety net, innit? And I think that's where like my team's been good and we've been like, okay,
sick.
We believe. And I think when you take a risk, you have to believe as well, innit? And like when we talk, there'll always be that we believe in the music. And from the things that I've achieved in the past, with not really much thought or planning or anything like that, we've achieved a lot, innit? So now we have the belief to take the risks that we would maybe not have taken before.
Right. So for you now, it's almost like because you've got the proof and you got the proof from taking the risk on yourself before, it's like, it's quite interesting. It's almost like the risk is not actually taking the risk anymore.
Nah. In some situations, yeah.
Man.
Now it's like, we believe, innit? So
Sick.
we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And that's not to say we just go mad and like spending mad amounts and doing all sorts of stuff like that. But it's like, when you have a belief that you've been put here to do, like I believe I'm here to do music, innit?
Right.
Whether it's for the next 2 years, whether it's for the next 10 years, whether it's helping other artists, whatever it is, I believe that I'm here to do this, innit?
Yeah.
So I know that for me, God is gonna provide a way for me to do what I need to do. And yeah, I have to always remember that because there's some days where I'm like, I'm done.
Naturally.
I'm done with this.
Naturally.
Do you get what I mean? I'm gonna
Naturally.
quit. I'm gonna quit, and I'll talk about that in, I think it's Roulette.
You do,
like,
which is the next track.
Yeah, for real.
Let's get into that.
Yeah.
Outrageous. The man want chat, but I dodge all that cause it's contagious. I'm still putting in work, I still got dreams of a house that's spacious. Sometimes I feel like putting it all on red in Vegas, but that wouldn't solve my problems. Might give me a few new ones. I keep saying that I'm done with rap, but then I come back like Gigi Buffon. I hate and I love this thing, all of the stuff it brings. Wake up stressed on a Monday, Tuesday, come with a brand new vim. I got the desire to win. And if we fail, bounce back like Saka, come back king. Clean hearts always win. Ain't no Sonics or Redox ting. Wise when I'm making friends. Any bad vibes go straight in the bin. Ain't no end, we don't let that begin. Looking back, it's been tough. Made mistakes, learn that lesson, move on up. Now just look at us, it's still in God we put our trust. This ain't luck, it ain't luck. Look at the time, it's in a rush. stay united for the goal like skulls and butt. Now just look at us, it's still in God we put our trust. This ain't luck, it ain't luck. Nah. Bite my tongue, cause if I speak, I'm in big trouble. I had one Barney and saw that friendship turn to rubble. I'm still learning though, mistakes can't let them double. I call that growth, gotta get past that stubble. I'm with bro like Chuckle, breaking bread, the vision's there. Had some doubts, can't let that stop me. Do it like Jordan, give them air. From young I learned life weren't fair. Days when I wanted the latest pair. So you only got two options, and I don't mean truth or dare. It's more like sink or swim. Sink or swim, yeah. Had to evolve like I grew some fins. Crystal maze can't get trapped in. Took a while to get to this point. Now comfortable in my skin. All them days we were down on our luck. Gotta give thanks on the days we win. Looking back, it's been tough. Made mistakes, learn that lesson, move on up. Now just look at us, it's still in God we put our trust. This ain't luck, it ain't luck. Look at time, it's in a rush. We stay united for the goal like skulls and butt. Now just look at us, it's still in God we put our trust. This ain't luck, it ain't luck. Nah.
Has the risk paid off?
We'll have to see, innit? We'll have to see, but yeah, for me, like talking about the project and my outlook on stuff, like this year's been a better year,
right?
Because I've been tying up the loose ends on this project and feeling like I'm working towards something. And I feel like when you're working towards something, you're like, it's always more positive when you're like, okay, I've got a goal, I'm gonna achieve it.
Totally,
Do you get what I mean?
Totally agree with you. I mean, it's focus, isn't it?
Exactly.
With focus comes direction, and then you can actually set out a path, set out a plan. And obviously, what is the plan for the rest of this year? What can we expect?
Well, this project, and then I don't know, like I feel like I haven't really done many features and different stuff with people.
Yeah.
So I want to try and do a bit more of that, be a bit more collaborative, and yeah, I think just continue to be in a space where I can write music that like is true to me and people can relate to. I still think that's like my main focus when I'm making music.
It's interesting because again, it's like, would you consider yourself a gospel rapper?
The gospel is important to my life.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? From a faith point of view, 100%, innit?
Period.
But what would conventionally be known as a gospel rapper, like serving the church and rapping for the church, like I try to make music that is applicable to everyone, innit?
Okay.
So people in the church like my music, people outside the church like my music. I just want to be a place where people can come, enjoy the music, get something from it. And my life is obviously very much informed by what I believe in it. So my decisions I make, the things I discuss, they're always going to be sprinkled with that. But I think it's important to be in different spaces and be able to talk to different people. And that's what I try to do as much as possible, is open up my music to everyone.
You mentioned, of course, that like you feel like you're here for a purpose, and obviously there is a bit of an interlude on the EP about this as well. But we're going to talk about Slow Drive and, you know, God being first in your life, because you do mention that. Let's listen to the track and then we can chop up a little bit more.
Never been afraid to chat. The man like it when we stay quiet. God first, you know I live by it. That's the motto, never did hide it. They want tests, I tell them come try it. Say they're the best, but I just don't buy it. And me, I mind my own business. And that's the makings of a good diet. I came back around with a new drip. My cup always runs over. Weave through this life till I find closure. No hair on my head, I might buy a bowler. Can't catch disease when in work mode. Brought me the keys to my first home. But this ain't all what it seems, bro. I still gotta pay by that big. They gon' bring us down, yeah, they know why. Always had enough to get by, yeah. All I wanna do is live my life, my life. They can't bring us All I wanna do is live my life, my life. I'm a guy that you can't impress if you only rap about cars and checks. Everybody says that they're up next. Take that receipt straight back to the desk. Raised on reggae, so I show my respect. Always ready when it's time to collect. Fresh and clean, I ain't talking about crepes. Flip the scene when I come in and step. I'm trying to better myself, be there for my wife, take care of my health. Bro said build generational wealth, and that right there is a tip that I felt. So let me write this new chapter. I can see my route, I don't need city mapper. Been doing this from when Spurs wore Kappa. But there's no lies, I ain't in a that chat, I ain't never cow. They can't bring us down, yeah they know why. Always had enough to get by, yeah. All I wanna do is live my life, my life. They can't bring us down, yeah that's no lie. To the city on a slow drive. All I wanna do is live my life, my life. They can't bring us down, yeah they know why. Always had enough to get by. All I wanna do is live my life, my life. They can't bring us down, yeah that's no lie. To the city on a slow drive. All I wanna do is live my life, my life.
I can see my route. I don't need no city mapper. I mean, for you, and what I'm getting from this track is that because you've got a plan now, because you've got a team in place, you're able to take things step by step. Am I on the right?
Yeah, man. I think like this track is deliberately placed after that interlude you was talking about, because that interlude's like still questioning like, should I be doing this? Is this the right thing to be doing? And then Slow Drive is sort of me processing that information and coming to the point of like having some resiliency and being like, nah, you're meant to do this. Like, and even though you have things that are setbacks or whatever, you're gonna bounce back. And now, like, you've seen it in your community, in your family, in your relatives, whoever. Like, you take inspiration of. You've seen people who have had difficult times, and then they've been like, this is very much happened to us, and we accept it. But now we're gonna move on and push on, and I feel like that's what I'm trying to do with this track.
You also mentioned in the track, right, that you was raised on reggae. Paint me a picture of your household on like Sunday.
Bro, reggae is like reggae is a big.
While you was
like,
growing up,
like
man.
literally, I spent so many days in my dad's car with him, just playing all of the reggae artists from whether it was like rocksteady, roots reggae, just all the different genres of reggae. My dad showed me all of them from young. So like, even when people ask me what's your favorite genre, my favorite genre is not rap, it's reggae. Like my playlist that I play the most is probably reggae. And the thing about reggae music is that like it comes out of the struggle, innit?
Yeah.
There's the realness and authenticness to it. It's all authentic. It's all how people are feeling, what they experience. And I want to kind of bring that into UK rap specifically. And like, that's important to me to do. Do you get what I mean? Like things like respect and those things that are ingrained in us. Like do it in a creative way, but bring those back. Bits. Exactly. Those things that are important to community. It's like, it's important for me. And I take that probably from reggae more than anywhere.
Reggae is obviously it's a beautiful genre of music, and I need to ask you a very important question. Yeah, is it plantain or plantain?
Plantain, mountain, fountain, all nouns. All nouns are tin. The verbs are tain. Yeah, maintain.
Right.
Yeah. So just make sure we got that right.
So it's plantain.
It's plantain for sure, 100%.
Say no more. Also in this track you mentioned how the city raised you. Now obviously you're from Croydon, but on the track you got on the album, sorry, you got a track called Wembley. Give me the relation so we can have a conversation and get into the music.
Well, like Croydon, obviously been there all my life.
Yeah.
God willing, if my wife lets me, I'll stay there forever. but
well, she don't want to stay.
nah, she likes it now. She actually likes it now.
Okay,
she likes it. But like Wembley is it's an interesting track name because I don't mention Wembley on the track at all, innit? But the reason why I call it Wembley is because like growing up in the ends, for a lot of men, black boys growing up, or boys generally, or black boys actually, let me get back to that. You either wanted to be a rapper or you wanted to be a footballer. And when you're a footballer, the aim is to play at Wembley, whether it's a cup final or play for England or play for whatever. And when you're an artist, one of the biggest venues you can play is Wembley, innit? So those two places, called Wembley are like such a big thing in our community. Without even thinking about it, like ultimately it's a place where you can get to showcase those two skills.
It's true.
What I wanted to try and paint a picture of is like, we can't all get to Wembley, innit? We can all do different things though. So whether you become an accountant or a lawyer or you become a plumber, electrician, whatever, there's other routes in it. Like the only ways out of where we are is not being a rapper and being a footballer. Because we see those two as like the most successful people in everywhere. Like black people excel in sport, innit? And they excel in music in the UK scene. So like, I kind of wanted to show that you can do other things, innit? And be just as successful and be just as influential as a person. It's not just these two things you need to focus on. And it's ironic because obviously I'm a rapper, but it's looking at myself, innit? And looking at myself and looking at like growing up and like when I have children and stuff like that, is like showing them that there's things you can do in it that
got you.
Yeah, and that's not to say like if you want to rap, bro, like and play football. I love football. Like I played a good level of football as well. Like those are two things I loved as well. But like we can't all do it, so let's try and be good influence in our community. So if you're a solicitor, go back to your local area innit, and talk to the young kids coming up and show them what you do, because they don't know these things, innit? They literally see the two things, football and rapping, and for a lot of kids that's all they see in it. So yeah, man, I just wanted to try and point towards something different.
Let's get into the track.
Fighting with myself. Do I quit and chase the money or submit to something else? When you look and see the wicked that they prosper and have wealth, your mind tells you to chase it while your soul is screaming help. I grew up in a place where many people live for self, where single mothers struggle while MPs are giving help. Expenses for the rich whilst many poor fend for themselves. Faced by this reality, some turn to raising hell. South London where the streets are kinda rough. As a young boy I was fearful of the roads and getting jumped. Knew a couple guys who started bagging boxes and that stuff. I stayed far away cause I was fearful of my mum, but it weren't the same for some. Dealt a bad hand long before life begun. I guess that's what happens when you're born in the slums. Men are still boys and the boys die young, live their lives in the front.
I see up there where the stars shine bright, down here it's gonna frighten me. But when we gonna see that change? Do you really see what I see? Up there where the stars shine bright, down here it's gonna frighten me. But when we gonna see that change?
Football and rapping ain't the only ways out, but they're the only two options that might come with the clout, and that's what most of us are chasing. Chances we ain't wasting. If you're in my way, I might just knock you off the pavement. What if we all chose to build community? Tell people how we cared before the eulogies. We all love to talk of how it used to be, but you can never get what's in the past. That's why today was given for a start, so I'm making sure I use it. If you pause, you see this life is lucid. People love to hate and that's abusive. Me, I'm all about the love like Cupid. That could never mean that I was stupid. If your mind's too open or polluted, at times I'm really ruthless, protecting my own sanity, persistent like an allergy for the sake of my family tree. Never chase what's bad for me, adapt to what's been handed me, living my best life while working out God's plan for me.
I see up there where the stars shine bright, down here it's gonna frighten me. But when we gonna see that change? Do you really see what I see? Stars shine bright, down here it's kinda frighten me. But when we gonna see that change?
In life you can never be sure. Facing all these sliding doors, ain't no time to pause. My people gotta fight for their cause. They don't even wanna see us draw. So how can we win? That's real stress like forgetting your pin. Strength in numbers so we never give in. Yeah, setbacks take them all on the chin. Tyson Fury when I get in that ring.
Do you really see what I see? stars shine bright down here, it's gonna frightening. Yeah. But when we gonna see that change? Do you really see what I see? Up there, all the stars shine bright down here, it's kinda frightening. Yeah. But when we gonna see that change?
Obviously, the last words on there is football and rapping ain't the only ways out. Unfortunately, there's another option that we see like a lot of youths go down. But you mentioned obviously your mum kept you far away from drugs.
I was shook.
You were shook, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Talk to me about the influence she's had in your life and the relationship you have with her.
Like, for me growing up, one of the first things I remember is W.H. Smith and them books that would teach you handwriting.
Right.
Like, my mum was on job from early, innit? She was on job from early, trying to make sure that, like, I was on, trying to learn, innit? And I think it's because when you come to this country from another country, like, you understand the importance of education more, and it's something that you really want to drum into your children. And my mum and dad did that for me, innit, from a young age. But I think, like, with my mum and the way that she grew me up, or brought me up, sorry, she always wanted me to go to university because she never got to go there.
Right.
And my sister went first before me, and then I went, and sometimes I feel like, I just went to university for the sake of going, innit?
Naturally.
Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
But at the same time, like, it gives you, like we were talking about earlier, focus. It gave me a focus to say, this is what I'm going to do in life. And she just always kept me on the path of staying away from people. Like, one thing I always say that my mum did that was really good is, like, she used to allow all my friends to come to my house. So my house was the spot.
Got you.
Like, there'll be time when there'll be 10 of us in there playing FIFA.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any reason to go outside and do anything else because we was literally had a place where we could get. My house was basically a youth club. It was basically a youth club.
That's powerful.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, for me, when I was growing up, I never really deeped it that much. But now I'm thinking about it, all of my friends, like, not to be boastful about them, but they're all successful in what they do.
All doing well.
Because we all grew up, like, not needing to do certain things, innit? And I think that my mum played a big role in that, whether she knows it or not, but she played a big role in making sure that, we was in a place where she could see us, but also we could enjoy ourselves. So, yeah.
Shout out to Mumsy, man.
For sure, man.
Yeah?
Always.
I mean, for you as well, like, there's a couple of bits you mentioned there, the fact that there's strength in numbers, and obviously you growing up with a bunch of friends that would come to your house, as you mentioned, it's like, for you now, and I guess let's call them a community of friends, like, I know you talk about politics, you mentioned, and social issues, it's like, together, do you guys have plans to go to Croydon and do bits there and build out your community there? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, like, for me, community is a massive thing, and, like, even when I think about, like, my nephew and, like, when I look at the younger generation, like, they need role models, innit? And people to, not trying to put ourselves on a pedestal, but they need people to look to and be like, I want to be like this person, innit? So in Croydon, for sure, like, as I get older and do whatever, I definitely want to try and be a positive influence there. Like, I have a degree in politics. People, my mum always told me from I'm like, oh, you're going to be a politician or whatever. And I don't want to be a politician because we see how much everyone hates them. But I believe in, like,
it's not the best time to be a politician. Definitely not.
But your circle of influence, who you have around you,
right,
like, you can have a major effect on them, innit? So if I have however many young people around me that I can individually have a relationship with and affect, that's just as powerful as becoming a politician or doing some of them other things at times, because you can actually have individual say in their life and point them in the way that they need to go, innit?
Right.
So I feel like for me, and even I say it to my friends as well, it's like, just be mindful of those around you and they're looking at you and be like, how can you help them, innit? Because it's easy to get, once you feel like you're successful, it's easy to be like, just forget about everyone else, innit?
Yeah,
I'm doing my thing, innit?
Yeah.
But ultimately, like you get to the position you're in so that you can help others to be as successful. Like this whole crabs in a bucket mentality, like can often come into certain people in it and be like, I need to step on you in order to get to here. But I feel like it's ultimately important to help those around you as much as you can. Even when it comes to music, like I'll have like artists come to me and be like, how did you get this or how did you get that? And I'll just tell them. Like other man, when I used to ask them questions, they'll be going around every roundabout to avoid like saying directly. And that's fine, innit, if that's your thing. But for me, I'll tell you straight how it happened and how to do it yourself. Because like I was lucky for it to happen to me, innit? So I'll try and give you the opportunity for it to happen to you. Do you know what I mean?
What would you say so far is your biggest achievement in music?
Still going. Like after how many years, still being in a position where my music can fund what I'm doing ultimately, and I can continue to do music. Like obviously playlists and them things are nice. Like, I think one of the things
all make a difference.
One of the things I really wanted to do was like have my song play on the TV program, and that happening on like Atlanta was like a crazy thing for me because it's a program I watched. So even before it was on there, I watched the program. So when the thing came through for it, I was like I was just... Talk to me
about that day. Let's talk about that day, that moment.
Bro, I was just at home, working from home as you do. Email pops up now and I see it's a sync. It's called sync when you do music. I see a sync request. I didn't even read the program. I just thought, oh, sync request, this is great. So I'm there just like looking at the fee. Listen, I'm not just about the money, but looking at the fee, calm. And I looked up and I saw Atlanta SO3, which means season 3. I was like, what? And then I told my wife, and we were just like in shock and awe because it's not, even with that, it's a season I've been waiting for, innit?
Yeah,
like,
it's the final season. Yeah.
I've been waiting for this so much, and then to see that they wanted to pick my song, and even the story of that is like, the song that's on there is Tintin, and like in industry terms, it didn't do as well as I would have wanted it to do at the time, innit? But I think like that happening later showed me that there was a reason the song was made. The song was made to be on that program. Do you get what I mean? And that's a crazy realization. Like at the time when you make it, it doesn't do well. You're like, you're down. And that was my last release before this project came. Yeah. And like for me, I was like, oh man, I wish this had done better. But a year later for it to get picked up in that way, it's crazy, innit? It's crazy. It's how things work out.
I mean, for how much you talk about having faith, leaning on God throughout your journey, it just shows that there is a bigger plan at play. Beyond what you think is possible. And sometimes it's more about, like you're saying, having faith, but then having hope that things are gonna be okay. This brings us to the final track on the project, Hope. Another one I Googled. Yeah. A feeling of expectation and desire for a particular thing to happen. In your life right now, are there things that you're specifically hoping for?
For sure, man. Every day I wake up hoping that I stay healthy. That's the biggest one, because like I've seen people around me get sick like that, and that the first one is health. Second one is just hoping that every day I can make good decisions. Because even with Carpe Diem, like I was saying, I treat it as, okay, what can I do today? What can I control today? And when I wake up, I hope that I can be the person, basically, that I say I am to other people and other people know me as. That's like a big hope of mine, is that when I wake up, that's the thing. And then I have wider things of obviously starting a family, retired early, them sort of things there. Yeah. I really hope for those as well. But yeah, ultimately, I just hope that in music, first and foremost, I can make music that other people can relate to, and this project in particular, they can be encouraged by, and hopefully something they can take from it and be like, you know what, this helped me in a way. So yeah, man.
Let's get into the track, man.
Another day, another obstacle. My people still standing tall. They laugh when they see us store. They only wanna see us fall. But there's still one thing we've been holding on to for so long. In the end we'll win, cause what don't break you makes you strong. Hope Hope, yeah, I need it, even though I can't see it. Hope, yeah, I need it, even when I can't see it. Oh, hope, yeah, I need it, even when I can't see it. Hope, yeah, I need it. Hope, yeah, I need it.
Trying to remember what I do this thing for. Every time I reach a goal, I only wanna get more, and that was cool when I started. But now it's bigger things, so I'm spending more time on my craft, and anxiety is kicking it. How big can you dream when the bills are all due and you ain't saved the thing? Feeling like I need a whip. Everybody says that I'll be fine, but is that really true? When you're born in a time that's full of fake news, and you just wanna show them all that you can make it with the truth, and that's why I ain't ever selling out. Put that on my grave, never chase the clout. Same in the rain or if there's a drought. I can only do all the things that mum taught me. Let's work hard and give God all the glory. And of that I'm more sure than Geordie, and that's all I know.
Another day, another obstacle. My people still standing tall. They laugh when they see us stall. They only wanna see us fall. But there's still one thing we've been holding on to for so long. In the end we'll win, cause what don't break you makes you strong. Hope, yeah, I need it, even though I can't see it. Hope, yeah, I need it, even when I can't see it. Oh, hope, yeah, I need it, even when I can't see it. Hope, yeah, I need it. Hope, yeah, I need it.
Trying to make sure that I can get this out. Remember to say a prayer, then I leave my house. I see my brothers thrive and then it makes me proud. Cause this is what can happen when you silence doubt. Remember days at the uni house, heating only on for a short amount. Jez has probably got some music playing loud, and Ernest probably in his books he's banging out. And all so that we can make something of our lives. It ain't no surprise when I look and see how far we come. I look at my friends and I see their drive, and I really know that I can't quit until it's all done. This is the chapter that I call the rise. Done with the formal, so I'm cutting ties. I can only be the me that God designed. Ready for whatever on this crazy ride that's called life, yeah.
Another day, another obstacle. My people still standing tall. They laugh when they see us stall. They only wanna see us fall. But there's still one thing we've been holding on to for so long. In the end we'll win, cause what don't break you makes you strong. Hope, yeah, I need it, even though I can't see it. Hope, yeah, I need it, even when I can't see it. Oh, hope, yeah, I need it, even when I can't see it. Hope, yeah, I need it. Hope, yeah, I need it.
Obviously, as we've gone through the tracks, like I've kind of gone with like headline bits that I've pulled from the track, and for this one, it's the fact that you're calling this next chapter the rise, right? Where does that come from? And like, why do you have the confidence that this is your moment?
I think it just comes from the encouragement that I've had from like winning in certain positions where I didn't think I was gonna win in it. Like that's first and foremost, is like I was saying, having that faith to know, okay, I'm meant to be doing this in it. And for me, knowing that I'm meant to be doing this means that like I'm now from a position where I was like, I'm gonna quit, to nah, I believe I'm doing this now. So it's time for me to rise up and do what I'm meant to do in it. So yeah, that's kind of the thoughts behind, okay, this is the rise now. This is the time where you know what you're about, you know why you're here, go out there and do it, innit?
Right.
And yeah, that confidence that comes with it is something that I want to have on a regular basis, innit? Because when you're confident enough, not overconfident, but when you're confident enough, you can produce some of your best stuff, innit? In whatever you do. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting to that position now. Despite,
like you're saying, feeling, you know, some form of anxiety along the process. Like, I mean, to talk about hope being a driver, or I guess some form of comfort in this process, yeah, that obviously comes from you being a Christian man. And I'm quite intrigued to know your definition of actually being a Christian man. because there is so much, as you mentioned in this, like there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of propaganda, but like, what does your relationship with Christ mean to you?
I think there's two things. It's love God and love people, innit? So I love God and believe what he said and follow what he says. And out of that means I love people. And I try my best to, in most situations, to love people, give them my best, and devote myself to my family and my community, innit? So like, when it comes to hope, there's two sides to that song, innit? There's the hope of like being like, okay, I believe through my faith that there's more to come in terms of life after death and all that sort of stuff. But then there's also the hope to know that we're gonna get through the situation, do you get what I mean? And that through generations again, it's that hope that's kept people going. Like, because so many bad things have happened in the world, innit? And if you just sit there and be like, you know, I'm just gonna fall into a pit now and spiral, you know, you need hope to get you through it. Because if you don't have hope, what have you got? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you look in the news or you see all the madness going on, whether it's wars or whatever, and if you don't have hope, you see that, it just feels like everything's pointless, innit? So I feel like hope is a massive thing that we all need, whether or not we have faith, we need hope to believe that things are gonna get better, innit? 100%. And so, for me, that's sort of what I wanted to try and encapsulate in this song.
I had an uncle who's no longer with us anymore.
Sorry, man.
And one of the things he always used to say to me, it was one of the last things he properly, when we had like a proper conversation, one of the things he said to me was like, once there is life, there is hope. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think for your album to end this way, in such a positive and hopeful manner, which is encouraging, especially in this time we're in right now, is beautiful. So I want to say congratulations to you.
Thank you, man.
Well done for pulling together this project.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And I hope that, you know, people take it in and resonate with it and actually take time to listen to music, not just stream it and binge it over a period of time, because there's a lot of messages here that come from a pure place, that just come from a real person. Do you know what I mean? Who actually goes through everyday bits as well. It's not like you're rapping and that's all you're doing and you live in the studio and there isn't that sense of reality that comes with that. It's like you're an actual man who's married, you've got a sense of humanity and you've got a real message. And I just hope that people take that in. So Marc Jones.
Bro, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for this opportunity as well.
Always.
I'm Quincy Thomas, aka Masta Que. This has been a conversation. Take care and be blessed. Love.
You did the research as well still.
Yeah.